Hello guys and welcome here to the Jello Cup Series. This is race number 19 here today. The first of two today here from the Pocono Raceway. This is the Gander RV doubleheader at Pocono. I'm Brian James here. We got a long day ahead of us. Good morning is, I guess, the best way to say it. It is 10 a.m. We're ready to go. Starting on the pole today will be the number 18 of Samet Ozkan. To his outside will be that number 00 of Anthony Logan. Now, you may have noticed the knockout qualifying results. So, again, I must emphasize that the go or go homers that made this race will also be in race number 20, which is the race at 2 later today. Again, there are two races today. This is the first. The second one, I believe, will be slightly longer. Do not quote me on it. But the first one is obviously 15% of the 130-mile race that would make up the first of the two Pocono races. The second Pocono race is 140 laps. That race will resemble that at 15% of the laps, just like normal. But again, I go back to the go or go home thing. Austin Shaw, Rusty Potts, Eric Faden, Casey Naneko, Ahmad Mihailovic, Ricky Johnson, and Anthony Logan. The 7 that transferred in, they are going to be in the next race too later today. The other guys, unfortunately, will have to wait till Homestead tomorrow for their chance at running a Jello Cup race. But anyway, this is the Jello Cup Series, bright and early in the morning, and it's the first of our Gander RV doubleheader. Another thing I should remind you before I roll the intro is that the field will be inverted later. So whoever finishes on the lead lap, the last car on the lead lap will be the pole sitter later today when we come back here to Pocono. So keep that in mind as we get going here. Anyway, let us roll the intro and we'll be right back in a moment.
Through turn 4. Does the 24 have enough? It's going to be a drag race to the line. We're going down the left track. They got 96. Wins the race at Coda.
Here we go. We are getting ready to go green here at the Pocono Raceway. I hope these drivers are well rested and ready to go because it is going to be a long day here from the Pocono Raceway. And these guys know that as we get going. The pace car will peel off. It will be Samet Ozkan and Anthony Logan. They will lead us to the green flag, and race 1 of 2 is underway. Also should be noted, these guys do have restrictor plates on their cars. Oh man, 17 got loose underneath the 25. He had the lift. But they are still side by side exiting the corner. Some of them 3 wide back there. Keep in mind, you want to finish on the lead lap in this race, because if you are the last guy on the lead lap, you will be the pole sitter later. If you wreck out in this race, you will start where you finished. Or if you finish one lap down, you will start where you finished. So these guys are aware that there's a lot that could happen here. I believe the caution is out. I hate this track sometimes, man. The lights are so deceiving. Anyway, we finished lap number 1, and it is Samet Ozkan hanging on to the race lead. This is going to be an exhausting day for the pit crews. We have not had two. This is the first time in Jello Cup Series history we will have 2 races on the same day. So these crews, these drivers, it's going to be huge for them to be well rested as we go on through the day. Anthony Logan goes to the lead. For the time being, they're still side by side down to turn 3. And at the line that time, it was Samet Ozkan by just a fender. Here goes Tyler Faden. Here goes Dan Hummel. It's going to be 3 wide for the lead. Someone's going to have to give, and it will be the 25. He thinks better of it. He knows he's in the battle for that regular season championship right now. Dan Hummel cannot mess this race up because obviously if you win that regular season championship, you get precedence over someone who does not, who has a win right now, who does not necessarily have the playoff points in their favor. But Anthony Logan, he will clear for the race lead. Dan Hummel will try to drive it into turns 3 and 4, try to get second and third away from the 14 and the 18. He won't do it this time. Dylan Young cuts low. Anthony Logan hangs on to the lead for the time being. Keep in mind there will be pit stops in this race. Here goes Ozkan down low for the lead. He won't get it. Instead, Alexander Rowe will get the second position. Rowe is the only driver in that Stewart-Haas stable that has not won a race this season, and he is hungry. He wants the lead. And I think he's going to get it going down to turn 3. He's going to have to side draft a little bit. He gets close. I think Anthony Logan's going to hang on out of turn 3. Alexander Rowe's going to need a lot of help behind him. He's just not going to get there this time. Will he try to set up something entering turn 1? He will not. Again, I remind you, we are back here at 2 p.m. Eastern for our second race of our doubleheader here at Pocono. Then we head to Homestead tomorrow night for the Ford EcoBoost 400. That'll be at 6 p.m. Eastern. Then we head to Atlanta for a night race, the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500. I'm still debating if we're going to do race 23 from Canadian Tire. We might do that the next day, or we'll hold off till after the All-Star break. But either way, after that, the next week will be the All-Star break. The All-Star Showdown will be Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. The All-Star Race will be Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So be sure to tune in for all of that festivities. And then, of course, we'll kick off the new week with either Canadian Tire or Sonoma. More than likely Canadian Tire. It's probably going to be the best bet. And they're starting to slow down. I think they might be getting ready to enter the pit lane here, and they will. Will anyone be daring and stay out? Mod Mihailovic is pitting. He should be one that stays out. These guys jam up in the back. Brad Stover pitted a lap earlier. And he could be in a good position. See, the 00 is in. 18 is in. Keep an eye on the 5. Here he comes. I believe he's going to take the race lead. Maybe. Mina Monroe cycles out in front. And Brad Stover falls into third, but he's looking for second. Over Rihanna G. Back behind, you see there's a little bit of separation now amongst the leaders. Oh man, the 10 is pitting. Looks like they got an issue. So at 65, Rihanna G goes to the race lead. Keep in mind, if anything significant is wrong with those two cars there, you see they're going right side tires. The 10 is out and away. I'm wondering if they just did not bolt on a tire correctly or something. This is kind of weird to be seeing them on the pit lane. Keep in mind with the restrictor plates on, it's hard to go a lap down. Unless they're trying to fight for the pole for the next race, but I don't see why they'd be doing that. Here comes the 65 again. Clearly some issues with those guys on the pit lane. And Brad Stover will go to the race lead. Here goes the 25, Dan Hummel. This is a battle for second, and it will not pan out in his favor. Oh, the 65's out of the race, a fuel pump issue, I believe. So Rihanna G will finish in 40th, and that is where he'll start later today. That is a tough break for the 65. They are going to have a lot of work to do in race number 2 today. Will the 5 come in this time? As now the pit cycles are all messed up. No, the 5 will stay out. The 10 is still on the pit lane. There's clearly an issue with Mina Monroe's car. And now Mina Monroe is going to be starting at the back for the next race if she doesn't get back on the lead lap. And that's something, if you're at the front, I mean, yeah, it doesn't help you a whole lot. But if you're at the front, I guess you're kind of happy that you're not starting dead last. Maybe we're coming up on halfway in this 20 lap race this morning. Here comes the 00. He is closing quick. It's down to 1.08. The tire fall off for Brad Stover is pretty high. Keep in mind, he pitted a lap sooner than these guys, and that's how he got the race lead. But up ahead, he's also got Trevor Collins to worry about. Keep in mind, if he puts that 6 a lap down, that's another position. If these guys can put him a lap down, that's another position these guys won't have to give up when the field inverts in just a few short hours. And at turn 3, the 5 is still hanging on to the lead, but it won't be for long. The 00 is just chugging away right now. He gained about 7 tenths right there. Just overall, that 00 is way faster than Brad Stover is right now. And he's just being held up. He is trying to find any way around him. Here he goes to the inside. And Anthony Logan will try to take the lead here. He won't do it. Brad Stover hangs on the outside. And instead now Dan Hummel putting the pressure on the 00. And the 5 is slow. He's coming to the pit lane 3 wide. And that's for the lead. So now the 00 and the 25 lead the race. Anthony Logan gets it back. Dan Hummel has the preferred lane, so he might get the lead out of this. Down the back, down toward turn 2, rather. I guess you could call it the back stretch. Dan Hummel will take the race lead away. In a way, this Western New York Autosport team, they have, in a way, been jinxed this year. They have run up front, they've had some good results, but they have not put it all together for the win. And that's something this team is hurting to do. You see all the leaders are out and away. There's the 5 in turn 2. Here's Ben Crouch. Ben Crouch is with them. Tyler Faden is also with them. Samet Ozkan is there too. Samet Ozkan could become the new race leader over Brad Stover and Ben Crouch. You see all those guys are out and away. And Samet Ozkan gets around all of them. He will, I believe, become the race leader. See, Brad Stover's kind of hung up on those guys. But the pit cycle has... Oh, no, wait. I stand corrected. It might be Frode Maratz. And Frode Maratz is slow. He's coming in. Keep in mind with these restrictor plates, you can't really go a lap down by pitting here. But if you pit a lap sooner, you're at a bigger advantage than you are by staying out a lap later. Dan Hummel is there. Keep in mind, he stayed out the extra lap. So Dan Hummel's at an advantage, and so is that double zero. Those two have the biggest advantage right now, if that was indeed the final cycle of stops for those guys. You know, if they're going to try and stretch it to the end, they're at the advantage. You saw Frode Marat's led that lap, but now the lead goes to Samet Ozkan. And you saw the 5 Brad Stover. He's looking for any way around this 25 right now. And the best thing these two can do is just draft down these straightaways. They want to get to the Long Pond straight, try to be bumper to bumper. That's going to be their one and I think that's their best way of closing in on this 18, because in all likelihood the 18 is going to have to pit again. 1.87, and keep in mind that's how they closed on Brad Stover at the end of that last stage there. But we have 5 laps of racing to go in race number 1 of 2 today. Caution's out. The 12, Tim Horton. He's got some pretty significant damage to that 12. And it looks like it was a wreck out of turn 2 that caused it. Could this end the race is going to be the question. They're racing back to the line. The 12 is going to come into the pit lane. He will now have to start the race where he finishes, because he will lose a lap right here. And he's done. So the 12 has made his bed. Essentially, he will start in 38th. And that 12 of Tim Horton has been on a downward spiral of late. Let's take a look on down the leaderboard, see if there's anyone else a lap down. We mentioned the 65 is out. The 10 is also out. So that is 40th, 39th, and 38th right there. Tim Horton will be 38th in the next race. Rihanna G will be 39th. The 10 of Mina Monroe will be starting in 40th. But anyway, I believe this will end the race under caution. Let's keep in mind we don't have overtime at our disposal here. The next race we do have overtime is at Daytona. And now the question is, who pits? And could we have a white checkered finish? That's another question, because we could very well have a white flag, one lap shootout. Let's go see what happened. So it looks like the 12 got pretty tight here. He's going into turn 2. Didn't realize, either he didn't realize the 3 was there, or he just wasn't going to lift. And he goes straight up into the 3. The 3's clearly upset, tries to dump him right there. That's a tough break for Tim Horton, who will now start the race number 2 in 38th. Let's see if we do get a restart. I highly doubt it, so at the very least, we'll take you to either the restart or the finish for race number 1 of 2 today. Here we go. We make our way through turn 3 here. Excuse me, I can't speak this morning. The 8 of Eric Faden is on the pit lane. The 22 Mitchell Collins, he lost a camshaft. He will have to start at the back. But it will be Samet Ozkan who will start the day off right. He wins race number 1 of 2 here at Pocono. Congratulations to the 18. He will get the job done. The 8 is retired. He will start in 37th. So that means the pole sitter for the next race will be Nathan Faden. So Nathan Faden, Trevor Collins, they will be the front row when we come back here in just a little bit. But again, we want to congratulate Samet Ozkan on his victory, his first career win in the Jello Cup Series. He is now, I believe, the 17th or 18th. Yeah, 17th different. No, wait. It's race 19. He's the 18th different winner in 19 races this season. Congratulations to him. We want to thank you guys for watching. Your results and standings are about to come up in just a moment, and we'll see you back here in just a few short hours for race number 2 of the Gander RV doubleheader at Pocono. Till then, goodbye everyone.